Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Well, hello everyone. I am Katie Petrick, joined by David Fiorazo, and it's a Magic Monday over here.
Happy Monday.
What are a
Did
bunch
you say
of M?
magic or manic?
Well, it's all of the above. It can be manic and magic. It's magical.
Good Monday to you.
All right, we're live here on Educated. As always, since we're live, if you would, post your questions, your comments, your thoughts, your concerns, your hopes, your dreams, and any other M words that go with to describe this Monday. We will try to respond throughout the show. Now, quick poll.
Okay.
How old were you the first time you got a cell phone? And if you hold your phone, well, here, if I said, hey, David, hold up a phone, what would you show me? No, not the actual phone, with your hands.
Oh, this.
Exactly.
Hello?
If you do this gesture, you probably got your phone pretty young because you're a youngin'. This is how you hold a phone. Quick poll. Everyone let us know how you, what age you were when you got your first phone. But before we get to that, David, who'd you have today on Worldview Matters?
Pastor Dean Dwyer from Australia. We talked about digital IDs advancing, pushed by the globalist agenda. And it's happening in Australia quicker than the people there apparently want it to happen. And, of course, here in North America. So digital ID and what that means in terms of Bible prophecy. Worldviewmatters.tv if you want more information on that or to check out today's podcast or any of them. You can watch them right online and subscribe if you'd like. Thank you.
Now, when you talked to him this morning, were you talking like
No, he was using that accent. I was just talking to him like this.
All right. Well, despite nearly every teenager in America having a smartphone, a new study finds a stunning revelation when phones are turned off. And I guess now would be like you hold the button on the side. You don't just hang up a phone anymore. You have to like push a button. Interesting, isn't it?
It is.
It's Pew researchers who came out with this. So what are they finding out?
Okay, well, let me go to the story. I was trying to bring up the Facebook Live because I wanted to interact, but into the story, more than 70% of teenagers, this is interesting, they say they feel more peaceful without their phones. Well, some say it makes them feel lonely.
Well, I mean,
if their life is their phone, they're attached. I mean, some of them are really attached to their devices. So, yeah, but it's interesting that, well, it's not surprising that 70% say, yeah, it's more peaceful when I don't have constant, barrage of noise and alerts and notifications and things to respond to. But this is the Pew Research Center. They did a survey called How Teens and Parents Approach Screen Time. Now, we've been talking about this for many, many years and the dangers of media. Katie, I think it was even 5 or more years ago, screen time for kids, for young people, there are more hours in their waking hours of screen time, whether that be television, laptop, phone, screen time.
Yep.
Was more than anything. Like it was in the teens, the number of hours young people were spending on screens. But now this survey says while 4 in 10 teenagers say they spend too much time on their phones, just 27% of American teens said they spent too much time on social media. Is there a disconnect there, a contradiction?
Complete disconnect there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and if they're spending too much time on their phones and they're not feeling like they're using the social media, what are they doing on their phones? What do they consider to be social media? Because they're probably just playing games then, and they're not considering that to be social media. So that way they're like, well, I'm on it a lot, but I'm not on social media, so maybe that makes me feel better about myself.
Too much time on my phones. Come on, you elderly people, you seasoned people like myself. I shouldn't say elderly. I'm not elderly, but in our generation, we know that song, Too Much Time on My Phone. Just change the word on my hands to on my phone. And this is what we're talking about now. So, yeah, they've done a lot of studies. There's an interesting stat here. Girls, Katie.
Yes, this is where I
get ready to defend. It's generally the girls who are more than likely to say they have tried to cut back on their use of social media, although the majority, almost 62% of both males and females, boys and girls, say they have not cut back. But they've tried, but they just can't do it.
I think a lot of them, honestly, for this current generation, this time period we're in, the ones who have tried to cut back probably tried to cut back because they were watching a TikTok where they were like, the new challenge is how long can I go without being on my phone? Ooh. And then they tried to cut back via doing a challenge that they learned about on their phone, if that makes sense. Because it does make sense. It's what they're doing.
Okay.
This is how the teens are operating. What's great about this is that we are highlighting this fact more and more instead of just defending. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, teens, they're on their phone. Oh, they gives them time to do this. And they're learning and they're not causing trouble. Like people for years and years as the problem was getting bad, people were defending the use of kids, teens being on their phones. Now there's kind of that boomerang effect coming back where it's like, yeah, to the detriment of society by what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that they're able to keep cutting back. But let's take a look and see what the whole 70% thing's all about.
Yep.
A new report finding nearly 3/4 of American teenagers say they feel happy or peaceful when they don't have their phones with them. 17-year-old Malik Harris says he sees the benefits of disconnecting.
I'm not just sitting there scrolling and doing whatever, wasting time. I get more active with the people around me. I can kind of just relax and be in the moment.
Despite those positive feelings when they put the phone down, most teens are not limiting their screen time, with 38% admitting they spend too much time on their phones.
I can be sitting on my phone for like 20 minutes and 4 hours pass by.
The brand new report from Pew Research Center also shedding light on family dynamics surrounding smartphones.
The agreement was when I hand you this phone, I'm going to be looking at it each month.
Tess Connolly says she keeps tabs on what her 15-year-old son, Casey, is looking at on social media. And she is not alone. Half of the parents surveyed say they look through their teen's phone, with half also saying they restrict teens' screen time. Teens aren't the only ones glued to their devices. Adults are too.
Teens were more likely to report their parents being distracted than parents themselves reporting. Parents painted a little bit of a rosier picture compared to what teens had to say.
So teens have been reporting their parents being distracted. Now, I find that to be very funny. But if you can see that whenever you go out to eat at some tables, you look over, and sometimes it's the mom and dad that are on their phones. It's not just the kids. And one of the saddest things, I think, is the reality that at some tables at a restaurant, you've got everybody doing this and not looking at each other.
I actually took a photo when my husband and I went to Disney World of an entire family sitting on it was like a park bench kind of thing. While the parade was going by. I turned around quick because we were watching the parade, and there they were all down on their phones. And I'm like, you're at Disney World. The parade, Mickey is about to roll on in here, and they were all on their phones. But hey, full disclosure, I have been that parent, not at a restaurant, but at home. So if the kids are eating and I'm on the phone answering an email or a text or something.
One of the things I found very, very interesting was half of the parents said they look through their teen's phone, and it's like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. And, some 43% say of teenagers think their parents check their phone. Well, you know what? If you're a young person, yeah, your parents should check. And parents, you should. The other thing is the majority of girls 15 to 17 have felt anxious without their phones. So we are developing this generation. We're producing this generation that feels like they need the technology, as proven by the survey with like 70-some% saying they are more peaceful without it. Well, yeah, go on vacation, go out and hike and just enjoy God's creation and nature. And take a deep breath.
That'd be nice. All right, well, let's take a deep breath as we look we're going to see actually what comments are coming in because we got some good ones. Al is asking, do you think we should ban phones in schools and switch to smartwatches only? Al, I say ban them both.
Ban them.
Because the kids are still distracted. They can do everything. They can still sit here texting or whatever on their smartwatch. They can see what's going on and not be focused on anything. I still don't understand the reason that we are now giving and allowing phones in school. Well, what if mom needs to get a hold of little Joey. Well, little Joey can get a note from one of the people in the office will come find Joey when it's necessary. There's way too much distraction by the parents trying to get a hold of the kids. Hey, you have practice after school. Oh, hey, when do you need those brownies I made? Like the parents are just to blame as the kids are to blame. So, Al, that's my opinion. What do you think?
Well, I like what David said. He said he's on the post on Facebook Live watching the program, Educated, and he says, well, I'm going to get off my phone now so I won't feel like a hypocrite.
There you go. Hey, David.
He's probably gone. David, are you still there? Anyway.
Good to see you. But
yeah, Lorna, did you read that one? The rule at home, no phones allowed when we eat at the table. Thank you.
I need
Wasn't
to
it,
put
who
that
was it? Chip and Joanna Gaines?
Yeah.
I don't remember what show they were on, but it
Fixer
showed
Upper, their own show.
What was it?
Fixer Upper.
Fixer Upper, yeah. So they had a restaurant where there was on the wall, there was a sack, and that you would put all the phones into the sack when you sat down at the table. That's what that thing was for the family's phones. I thought that was a great idea. Of course, they didn't enforce that, but I thought that's a great idea. Communicate with the people that are in your life. My goodness.
Well, and if you're with like adult friends out at a dinner, you can do the first one to open their phone has to pay for the whole table. I've seen that kind of play out.
Oh, that's good.
Where
that's
they have
really
to, like,
good.
whoever has to, there are different ways.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not saying take everyone's cell phone and throw it in the garbage. We're saying be responsible, but get off of the cell phone, teenagers. If it is, that's the sign. It's a problem. If you're anxious without it, it is a sign you are addicted to it. That's addiction.
Yes.
If you get so anxious when you can't be by it, that is when it becomes a problem.
And you can't sit for 5 minutes. You've got to go. I better go check my device. Hey, next story. How patriotic are we feeling today? Indiana high school student is speaking out after going viral for refusing to remove his U.S. flag from his truck. Now, this is East Central High School. He's a senior, Cameron Blasek, and he's a student in Indiana speaking out because he was told to get that flag off his truck. Now, we're going to see, there he is right there. We're going to watch the video. We'll come back and talk about it.
Wherever 17-year-old Cameron Blasek goes, so does Old Glory.
The flag itself represents this country, this beautiful country that we live in.
He fastened the flag to his truck this summer.
It's very strongly secured in there. I mean, you can't pull that out if you tried.
It abides by the U.S. flag code.
I got pulled aside by my counselor and vice principal, and they told me, hey, you got to remove the flag off the back of your truck. And I kind of looked at him, and I said, no. I said, it's not going to happen. I said, I can't.
Cameron held the line.
Read through East Central's 2023-2024 handbook, and the word flag wasn't even mentioned in the parking lot or driving section. The only section it's mentioned in is the flag twirling section.
Boy! The next day at school, others showed up with flags of their own.
There was a huge support group there that believed and stood for the same thing that I did, and I was kind of shocked by that.
That's when the principal sent a letter to parents Friday to, quote, address recent concerns and confusions, writing, I am pleased to inform you that we are allowing the display of the U.S. flag by students in the parking lot. The American flag has been politicized in recent years. One poll shows 83% of Republicans have a very positive view of the American flag. That number drops to 49% for Democrats.
I think everybody gets offended over something that doesn't mean what everybody says it does. This flag represents our country and the people who died for it and fought for it, and I respect that with my whole heart.
Yeah, what does it represent? Unbelievable. This is programming too, by the way, that less than half of Democrats don't respect the flag and don't have a positive view of it. This is amazing. This is what they're teaching in schools, to hate your country because we're evil, because we've done all this evil in the world and blah, 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 blah. You don't know our history. You don't know how much good America has done. You don't know how many charities, how many services we do overseas, how much money we give to all the, anyway, I could go on and on what good America does. And for you to say, no, I don't have a positive view of the flag. What does the flag represent to you? If all it represents to you is racism, then you've got a problem in your understanding of American history, and you probably have a worldview issue as well. Go ahead.
Well,
I'll get off my soapbox, Katie.
Well, I'll get back on the soapbox.
Get on
because that's precisely the problem. The American flag reminds us of all the freedom that we have and what we are given in this country that every single other country on this entire planet does not enjoy. And if you don't like what we're doing here, then bye-bye, go somewhere else. Celebrities threaten it all the time. I'm still waiting for one of them to just leave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Find me somewhere better. We're going to be here all day. America has problems. We have many a problem. But our problems used to be our problems that we would work through. Like, if you get in a fight with someone, then you would try and make up with them. But now we just get in a fight and we're further divided. And we can't even apparently fly the American flag, which used to represent everyone here now in the United States. And you're going to come back at me with, well, it didn't always represent everyone. It does now. So
what's interesting, Lorna says we don't have that trouble in Canada. They can fly the Canadian flag. Jewel
Lorna
says, God bless you too for standing strong. Luz just puts all these American flags in her comment over on Facebook. And Judy says, I don't have to be allowed to fly the flag. But yeah, it really is astounding that so many people have a negative view of the flag now. It just means this is indoctrination.
Well, yeah,
is why they have the negative view.
I will, when other countries, when I speak to people of other countries, they do question, why are Americans so obsessed with their flag? And
obsessed?
What did I say?
Obsessed.
Yes, obsessed. We are obsessed with the flag. And I will say, a flag on different things that aren't actually the flag itself, but like on socks or ties, or like we do get very like putting the flag out everywhere. What's interesting with this story is that Cameron, the high school senior that you just saw, he knew what the flag code was and is. He is following the flag code. He's not just trying to like paint his whole truck with flags.
He's not trying to be a rebel.
He
lives in America.
He's just putting the one flag up in his truck. But this is where schools have been getting in so much trouble for so long now because of them bowing down.
They'll fly the rainbow flag everywhere,
there
right?
You go.
And in the classrooms, it's in there. They don't want to have the American flag. This is astounding. Good for you, Indiana. Good for you for wearing the Hold the Line T-shirt. I love that T-shirt. And wow, that's not even Texas. You think of all the flags flying, all the support.
There you go.
But it's still to come. Chicago Teachers Union. Jeez. Uh-oh, you know what's coming next. Finds itself in the principal's office after encouraging students to attend leftist political rallies during school hours. No surprise. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
Per usual, the Chicago public schools are having troubles. And so in comes the Chicago teachers unions. And
of course.
Yeah, they're under fire again for encouraging and even possibly busing students to attend what was an upcoming political rally during school hours. Let's take a look.
Voting is a right everyone should exercise. And this Friday, the Chicago Teachers Union is encouraging eligible CPS high school students to come to a student power forum.
The idea of marching students to the polls and have a celebration of voting is a good, positive idea.
Yet former UIC political science professor Dick Simpson says CTU is teetering on the line too. In a letter, the union talks about how it's teaming up with Chicago Votes, La Casa Norte, and Bring Chicago Home.
They should drop the connection with Bring Chicago Home.
The teachers union support the referendum, which would increase taxes for properties over $1 million. Those funds would go to help the homeless. CTU invested money into this referendum, and now the student rally is being called into question because Bring Chicago Home is a partner. Some consider it a conflict of interest.
They should simply not have any speakers or promotion of the referendum as part of the program.
Just over a year ago in the race for mayor, CTU criticized then-Mayor Lori Lightfoot's campaign when it asked teachers to get students to volunteer for Lightfoot for student credit. The union's headline read, "Lightfoot shakes down CTU members for student campaign support, an appalling failure of ethics again." Now the union is under fire for possible ethics violation.
Yes, ethics. What do we care? It's ethics.
Of course, it's a conflict of interest. They're teaching these kids to go vote Democrat. That's basically these leftist groups and these other political groups, they're not going to go support a publican, whatever nonprofit or anything like that. So, of course, and teachers unions, what have they been supporting all these years? Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. That's all they have poured money into. Mm-hmm. And they're asking for more money, by the way. Katie, did I read that somewhere?
You hold your horses over there, mister.
Okay.
So while the Chicago Votes, which was mentioned there, is supposed to be a nonpartisan organization, the Illinois Policy Institute remarked that the Bring Chicago Home that they mentioned is a policy advocacy organization that's campaigning on behalf of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's real estate transfer tax increase referendum. So it's definitely geared toward one side because, as you remember, maybe you don't remember if you're not in the Chicago area, the Chicago Teachers Union definitely backed Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Oh, of course.
They pushed him over the line. And speaking of Mayor Johnson, the Chicago Teachers Union is preparing to negotiate its next contract with the former employee that they bankrolled into the mayor's office, which is Brandon Johnson. So he was a former employee, and now he was elevated. That's how they do this. They work through the system. And
it's all for equity, though, Katie.
Yes, it's all in the name of equity. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson probably will be in support of this next contract negotiations because of the amount of money that is being involved.
How much
for
are we
his
talking?
friends?
Yes.
We are talking a lot of money. So the next teachers union contract demands at this point, they want a $51,000 average raise. Raise, not they want $51,000. They want a raise.
What are we looking at here?
$51,000. So they want, by the 2027-2028 school year, they want teachers on average to be making $144,620. Right now, the current average, right this moment, can you guess what it is?
It's got to be over 100,000.
Just under 93,182.
93,000.
The average teacher is making $93,000. If you were telling me that teachers don't make money, apparently you're just in the wrong spot. Go to Chicago.
You're not paying attention. No, you're not paying attention. But how about?
Well, you saw what you in that graphic. For those of you who visually saw that and are not just listening, it has risen since 2012 by $43,000. Which is nearly triple the private sector salary increase. Since 2012, yes.
So say that again. Teachers' pay due to the Democrat leftist unions has nearly tripled the private sector?
What the private sector salary increase would be.
Okay.
So if you are in the private sector and you're like, oh, why don't I make more money? Apparently become a Chicago school teacher.
Yeah, but what about the schools, though? They have to be doing much better
They're
as far as
learning. They're doing so much better that, whoops, our bad.
I said that, okay, that's the exact opposite. Look at that.
So looking at that same time period since 2012.
Look at that.
When you say how much money is being spent in schools, it has gone up 97%, astronomical to today. Meanwhile, reading scores have gone down 63%. Math scores have gone down 78%.
So wait a minute. Spending, does that include teacher salaries?
That all goes into it, yeah.
Up to 97% of an
So
increase.
spend more. We need more money because our kids' scores are so low. We need more money because our kids' scores are so low.
We need more money.
You see that graphic and you know money is not the answer.
So we've said this time and time again. Money does not get to the level of students, of helping the students, helping the children. It's the unions. They just want their teachers to get more pay. And this is just the way it is, friends. It may not be like that in small town USA, but in many of these cities, the teachers unions are really going to bat for them and taxpayer money. That's why their salaries are so high.
Well, let's get some positive because we got our latest Babylon Bee headlines to discuss, and we need you to pick a winner. Stay with us.
If you have a smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Apple TV, consider downloading the Freedom Project Media app. It's 100% free and includes all of our weekly shows, plus lecture series, archive programs, and award-winning animated videos for families like the Presidential Minute, Battles of America, and Heroes of the West. Don't rely on the social media giants to keep you informed. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app from your app store and allow notifications. And we'll let you know when a new video is ready.
Okay, before we wrap up the show for the day, let's take a look at everyone's favorite satire site, the Babylon Bee.
Here are this week's top 5 Babylon Bee headlines.
So we picked our favorite. You get to vote. If you're watching on Facebook Live or Rumble, go ahead and put the number of the best story that you want to think is numero uno. Let's start with this one. Progressives fear that without TikTok, they won't be able to convince kids to join their weird sex cult. Number 2, Nation reassured as special counsel transcript reveals Biden still able to make car noises with his mouth. Number 3, January 6 protesters request to be called undocumented tourists. No, then they'd be released, right? Number 4, Democrats warn that migrants committing murder could result in more people referring to them by the wrong term. And number 5, the Oscars observe a moment of silence for undocumented murderer, tragically called illegal. Oh my goodness. So you guys vote on your favorite. There's one of them that's almost cringeworthy. Or
one
two
of
them. Yeah, there are 2 of them there.
Rather cringe.
I know what I'm going with.
You what do you got?
I'm going with number 1.
Okay.
Progressives fear that without TikTok, they won't be able to convince kids to join their weird sex cult because, they're talking about banning China's TikTok, which they should anyway. But Katie, do you have...
Now that one's so on the nose.
It is.
It is. It's makes it less funny. Let's look at the other 4.
My runner-up would be number 5, I think.
I was looking at 5, but anytime, I never get sick of the Joe Biden comments because of them talking about him making car noises with his mouth. That's basically, that's where we're at.
So we have a couple votes from our friends. Jewel and Gregory both say number 3. Lorna says number 4. David says 2 is so true.
We're all over the charts this time. I'm liking it.
And I said 1. Did anybody say 5?
Well, I was going to go 5.
Okay.
The Oscars, because that's just like, is the Oscars the last one of the season? I have no idea. Are they finally done?
Did they happen yet?
I think so. Yeah,
last week. That's right.
So are they over like
overrated? Yes.
That too.
And low ratings. The ratings continue to tank. Thank God.
Just basically saying nice things to each other. I'll put it in a nice way.
All right.
Are they overdoing that? Are they over finally?
Well, guys,
maybe?
thanks for your votes. We've got to wrap it up as far as the top headlines of the week. More satire next time, Katie.
All right, fine. We'll be done.
I'm so glad we had this time together.
Yes, this is true. Now, if you enjoy our content, if you would please consider subscribing to our audio podcast and weekly media e-blast, which contains all the top stories of the week. All you have to do is go to stayeducated.org. And just so everyone's aware, we're taking a little break for Easter next week. Just a little break.
Easter week. One. Resurrection week.
Resurrection week, as David calls it. It'll be a good week. And there's going to be no Educated Live, though that'll be bad. But otherwise, we'll be back after that. Now, for David and myself, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for supporting what we do. Until next time, stay educated.